be performed. We can't cover all because it's a big, huge field across the data analytics in Power BI. So whatever we can, we'll try to cover the basic ones, so at least we know. And then I'll start all the basics of different stuff, and then we can take it in subsequent sessions, or you guys can ping me separately to have a discussion about it. Give me give me a second. Why is the slideshow is not working? Yeah. So, introducing myself, I'm Prince. I head the data analytics and regulatory platform for ING Bank Singapore. It's an Asia platform where we are supporting around about 10 branches of ING across Asia. The basically the tools used is Power BI and MSBI Suite. So we are set off around about now 70 plus applications where we are using all these technologies. Uh, from a person perspective, I love playing cricket, squash, and love traveling. And now being traveling being banned, so I've removed it from the interest of mine. So so this is what as person, as profession, I do. Um, so uh, now let's understand data analytics in Power BI. What we're going to go through this session, how we're going to understand what are different types of data analysis that are present in the world, present in the data science world. Understand how we can work on it in Power BI. Then I'm going to touch base on sensitivity and scenario analysis Power BI. I'm going to touch base on cohort analysis in Power BI, predictive analysis via Python, linear regression, forecasting. Um, we're going to do some auto ML in Power BI as well. So these are the topics that we are going to cover across the whole session. So let's begin, because I think we need to cover within a time frame. Um, so this what will follow, will just understand the basic definition of data analytics in general, and then perform the sensitivity scenario analysis hands-on. Then do then integrate Python, try to integrate Python and do data wrangling and linear regressions, and then I show you how auto machine learning is changing the predictive analysis world. The way the auto MLs are being used to do lot of predictions across. We're going to show one in Power BI as well, by building one of the binary regression model, a linear regression model, as well as the binary binary model. I'm going to show you both the models out there with help of data flows. Okay, let's start. What is data analysis? Data analysis is just can be defined as a process of cleaning, transforming, and modeling the data uh, to arrive at business decision makings. Uh, it can be used to do lot of analysis. It could be just a descriptive ones, and extract the useful information, and then take decision on the basis of that information that we have got it from the data. What kind of data analysis we have? It types of data analysis: we have descriptive analysis, we have exploratory, we have inferential, we have predictive, we have casual, we have mechanics analysis. The let us have one line for each of them, and then we go on to the real stuff out there. The why I'm going through this, so that at least people understand what kind of analysis we in and what are possibilities across in Power BI. The discipline of descriptive is just like you're giving a description of your data, what that data tells you about, maybe just a count over the over period of months, summation over the profits over the month, each product wise, each country wise, each segment wise. So these are kind of a lot of simple descriptive analysis. It doesn't have it just describes the form or the data itself. Then you have explanatory, where you analyzes the data sets to find the unknown relationship that can happen between the two attributes of the data. So that's where you perform explanatory analysis. Inferential is that it aims to test theories about the so to give you a basic, inferential is that how you can infer an information from a particular set to be predictive, so that then you can use that as part of the predictive analysis input, and then you can do a lot of analysis across. Then the predictive analysis is the one that usually people use to do, that is the end aim of lot of people, to get predict the future, to predict the future scenarios or future stuffs across. That's where you predict so you're predicting the stuffs, and where this is the place where auto MLs, your forecastings and all those things are becoming way going way ahead in the games in that sense. Then comes the casual analysis, where you just look at the cause and effect of relationship between variables, focus finding the root cause of the correlations. Next is the mechanics. That is where we're going to start from to find out what happens to one variable when you change another one. So what is the output, what would be the change when you change one thing, what will happen to the another variable of the whole scenario. So that's where we're going to start with, to deep dive into what is scenario sensitivity, how it is related to these analysis. So sensitivity and scenario. What is sensitivity analysis? It's just a financial model that determines how target variables are affected based on the changes in the input variables. So that's where you're connecting it with mechanics analysis. So it is it's like a what if situation simulation analysis, where you predict, okay, what if this happens, what if that happens, what if this will change, or what would happen to the output. So for example, you are a sales manager in a product house, and you have sales. You want, so you know that you can only control the cost price of that the product. So you want to say, okay, fine, if I decrease my cost price by 10%, what will happen to my profits? What would happen if I increase it by 10%? So imagine, so these are the common examples that you can do it, where you use this sensitivity and scenario analysis to do that. What if, what will happen, what if that will happen. So if you see, what is the difference between sensitivity and scenario? Sensitivity only targets one variable and goes in depth changes in that variable to see what are the other answers. Where scenario analysis comes, it's like you're making your machine learns about different scenarios, where you where you're comparing two variables, two or more variables, changing their different combination of them, and understanding exactly what will happen, if that those changes happens. So these are the different differences between sensitivity and scenario. uh, if you see sensitivity as an example, overall is that scenario cannot happen without sensitivity. So scenario is built on sensitivity analysis. So if you say if you compare a formula, is it like it's like a change in x, change in the parameter value gives you the actual sensitivity. uh, so this is as simple as that. So as I spoke already about this analysis, the movement of one variable to specific to the second variable. Uh, Same thing with when it comes to the advantages and disadvantages of the approaches. One provides an in-depth, second one provides a more of system thinking, where you can make your machine learn about what are different scenarios that can happen and what should be done to improve it. One does a very in-depth analysis, like a fact helps in fact checking. Once these two, how you can allocate resources to different scenarios to make it more profitable for you in a sense. um, so as I told you, it's taking just one input, and other one is trying to figure it out on the basis of across the variables, what things can be done. So this is a simple sensitivity scenario analysis report, where above is single parameter interactive, where they were talking about sensitivity. The lower part is more about the scenario analysis. Um so what it does, it tells you, okay, for example, if you increase the cost price by 20%, you're going to decrease in your profit is going to decrease by 3 million. So in this, what can be scenario? Okay, fine. I got a 10 million profit last year. I want to forecast it to. I think I can increase the profit by. I can achieve a forecast of 14 million by increasing the 40%. But no, but my desires are something different. So then you start playing around with this sensitivity across how you gonna achieve it. Let's get into a demo mode, where I'll show you the report. And sorry guys, I wanted to show you on the Power BI, but I think now I just have to show it on the services, because the whole laptop crashed. So if you see all these data, you see 10 million, 4 million, 20 million, all this data is around there. So for example, you tell, okay, I want to achieve now, I think I can go till 18 million of a profit. So I just change the sensitivity, everything, all data is getting updated. So okay, I say, okay, I can achieve 19 million of my desire is 19 million. So So now I should see now if because I if as a person I say okay, I cannot control all, I can only control cost price, so I'll just change, I'll try to change the cost price to see which one on a separate, on single handedly, without changing any selling price, without changing any so called quantity, what I can do with cost price to achieve this profit. So if I go 30% down, so it's just updating this value. Oh, I can achieve 28 million. So you imagine if I decrease my cost price. So this is what they do it with this analysis. So it it goes in-depth analysis, and on the runtime it just changes the value and shows you okay, on 20% decrease I can achieve 22 million. So I'm still achieving the target value. If I just decrease my cost price by 20%, I can achieve that. Then you say no, okay, may or may not be, I can decrease the cost price by 20%. So maybe I can only decrease it by 10%. So, but then I'm not achieving it. Then I have to have change in another variables to achieve that profit. When it comes to combination of more than one variable, that's the time that you have to do a scenario analysis. That's the time you try to see, okay, fine, now I have to change two variables to get it. So to show that, if you see, if you want to do it with the cost price plus versus selling price, you can see if you decrease your cost price by 10% and you decrease your cost price by 10%, that was the value for us. So you have to, okay, this is the cost, this is cost price. So if you decrease 10%, you have to decrease, so this is the scenario. This would be, the green one would be the scenarios where it will be a true. So if you increase your selling price by 30% and decrease your cost price by 30%, you are gonna make, you're gonna morely achieve more than 169% of your desired profit. So it's comparing the desired profit with the changes. So this is how you it does. So for example, it achieves 21 million with minus 10% in your cost price, and minus 30% in cost price, and minus 10% in your selling price. That also gets you your profits. So but if you just see this minus 10% of cost price, what would be the scenario? You have to get 19 million, the green part, it has to, you have to increase 10% of your selling price to get that value. So see, these are the different scenarios that you can work around with, and it's a very simple, easy way to do it with just little bit of DAX, a little bit of DAX knowledge, and a little bit of your what if parameter knowledge. You can build this report very easily. Uh, I'm going to show you a sample how I've built it. I've put up a codes also within the PowerPoint presentation I'm going to share with you. You guys can go back and experiment with your data sets and see to it. What you need to do is that first you get your data sets sorted out. You get your data set inside the Power BI, and then what you need to do, you need to generate series. So let me edit. Is I'm in edit mode or no? I don't think so. I'm in edit mode. Okay. What you can do, you can just create a what if parameter out here. Okay. Let me see. So what? Where is my edit mode? It, give me a second, guys. Just getting it. Oh, editing. Give. Open it. Let me open in a more Power BI itself, mode itself. Um, Okay, let it get open. In the meantime, I'll show you the samples. I have done PPT also because I cannot. Okay, let me open another table. Okay, in the meantime, I'll will go ahead with other part of the things. Will come back and show you that how the parameters are being built. Okay, so this okay, so we'll come back to this one. Okay, I'll just show you one sample across so that at least you understand what we are trying to discuss. So if you see this demand change with respect to cost price and selling price, so what we are going to trying to do is that we're going to use a what if parameter to build that what if parameter. What it does, it generates a series. It generates a series along with a measure that is there, and that's why I wanted to show you on where is my data model. Okay, okay, let me come back to this one. Let in the meantime, let if it
Prince,
gets
I think in file we have the edit option.
already. I've already in edit mode because I can run it. I'm already in
Okay,
edit. I'm already in the edit mode. I'm not able
okay,
to
okay,
show
fine.
why it's not coming up out here. The measures out there. So give me a second. That's why I'm opening it in a desktop version. Okay. Okay. So so having said that, let me get back. Let it get open, then I'll show you on that mode. So these are the so I'll come back to it. In the meantime, we can do a linear regression within Power BI. So next kind of analysis that we want to do is the linear regression. We'll definitely come back on that one, guys. Just let it the file get open. I think. Okay. Let me open it in the background. Let it get open because it's going to take some time to open that file. Let me open. Let me open the first. Okay. Let me open this one. This one would have the least out of all. Okay. Let it get open. In the meantime, uh, I'll show you the linear regression. Okay, linear regression in Power BI. That is another way of doing a regression modeling across in Power BI. We are using a Python to do a linear regression and then creating a DAX linear regression equation over it to understand the whole linear regression of the model. What is so we are using the two tools within Power BI to do the to achieve this thing. So what is linear regression is just in a predicted value is equivalent to the intercept first with the coefficient values of independent variables with a and e being the random error. So we we used a simple Python script where we use imported pandas, skylern and all those things and got a data set to do a linear regression over it, train the data set, test it.
Please minimize the MS Team.
Oh, sorry. So we do a linear so we did a test and predict by those data sets and got the coefficient values and then use this coefficient value as part of the data set to perform the under Power BI to and then build a variable with DAX with the help of DAX created a very simple equation that was there out there that we showed in the previous one. So we did a coefficient values of all the four intercept and then and on what kind of data set we are doing it, we are taking the data set like we had three radios, TV and the TV inputs, radio, TV and I think newspaper inputs, and then getting their coefficient values and then trying to make an interactive report to understand what would be the predicted value. So this is what we can do it also within the Power BI systems. um, I think I have opened that also on the Chrome. Yeah. So if you see this, let me go to the edit mode. So okay, a second, let me open a data set for you to show you. So so it also does the same part. So if you can change the newspaper input to understand what would be the predicted value, so it decrease. So what it shows with these, if you goes by newspaper, you're gonna have a decrease in your profit. If you're gonna so newspaper is inversely related to the predict output. So then people can make a decision whether they really want to do a newspaper ads or not, because it's not being so profitable for them. So then you will say, okay, no, but the TV is the most profitable, so let's spend more money on TV ads as compared to another one. So this is how you can use, if you can make use of all these parameters, or make use of this linear regression, make use of this Python integration within Power BI to do all these things. Okay, I think it's opening now. Okay, let it get close. I opened the wrong one. Let me show you the first the coefficient one, because that's easier to open. So uh, Uh, um, so these are the different case things that you can do it with the regression models, when you can integrate Python within Power BI, that gives you an opens a big floodgate of things that you can do with analysis. Then your analytical models, your data analysis become goes to the next level of things that you can do within Power of within that stuff. And the okay, I think it opened. Hmm, let it get open. So these are the different things that you can do within the Power BI. So it's the Power BI with this continuous new integrations. I'm making one good common platform to do different kind of analysis, where everyone is playing a role with when it come, everyone has a role, every role of within a data science world, like from data scientist to data analyst to the end users, can make use of Power BI and perform data analysis. For data scientists, you can do integration with Power BI, Python and R, with not only from a ETL perspective, where it is integrated with Power Query, but also from a visualization perspective. If you can see, you can even create your Python and R visuals also. There are certain restrictions of libraries where you cannot use all, but you can still make a work out of it. Then on top of it, you have so much of custom visuals out here that can also help to tell your data story better, tell your data analysis story better, in a sense, where even you have your so-called summary writers, summary predictors, where you just put it out, it gives you a summary prediction of the whole report as well. So, and it's a dynamic one, you don't have to have a put it out there. So I'm not covering those parts, but these are the possibilities that you can do it with the Power BI. If it open, yeah. So if you see the Power Query editor open, So I'm just going to show you how you can integrate the Python and Python scripts and R scripts within the Power BI. That helps you build a lot of different models. You can create the models. You don't have to have a Azure machine learning licensing or the so-called. So even on your basic pro or a basic free license also you can do all those things, so just on your desktops, but you cannot share it, that's another thing, but for now, at least you can have those things out there. So these are the things that you can do with integration of all these things. Second, let it open. Sorry guys for the trouble because of the whole crashing of my system. Not all the files got closed, so reopening makes it a little bit difficult with these things. Okay, so it tells you, so it's just showing you the same script that I showed as part of the coding. So you can just, okay, why it's taking so much time unnecessary. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how the scripts looks like within that. Let it have an issue out here. So you can just run a Python script by adding a transformation from there. So what it does, it tells you the whole thing, and it gives you an output of your the data set that you have it. uh, tells you it gives you your so-called coefficient values out here from in under the components data set. It gives you your the trained data set, your test data sets. So it gives you um, everything that is part of this, even the x1 also. So it gives you all these values, and then you can use this different data set that you are getting it out as an output of that script, and then you can use it for multiple purpose accordingly as per your scenario base. I used only the components part because I just needed the coefficient value to build that report. So this is what you can do it as part of that reports. Let me go back to this sensitivity. Finally, I can. Okay, guys, now coming back to the whole sensitivity reports. So this is what I explained you how linear regression happens. I'm gonna give you another regression model from an auto ML perspective. That is the last part of that our presentation. But this one, okay, now, okay, come on. Okay, now coming back to the sensitivity and scenario, what we were trying to discuss that how we can build this. So if you see these let me show you the data model first. Okay, do you see there is no linkage of your actual data towards all these tables that we have created, the so-called demand, sales price, cost price, profits, and there's no linkage. So but how then these things are affecting the end output of the profits, or predicting the outputs of profits? So that's where the DAX comes into picture. I'm going to show you how we did this one. So if you do you see this? Uh, so it's a simple what I'm going to show you from ins modeling perspective. So do you see this new what if parameter? If I click this, what it tells me. So what it does, it creates it in the back. It's just a configuration one. I'll let it get open. I'll show you. So see, this is the parameter. So demo underscore India underscore quantity, just like that. So this is a decimal number, fixed decimal number. I'm going to take it. So I'm going to say minimum is my minus 0.6, maximum is my 1, maximum is my 0.6. Why I'm doing it? So you can I'm not allowing people to increase too much of that, and my increment by default is zero point 0.1 and default is my 0. So add slicer to the page. I'm not going to allow as of now. We'll take the later that slicer across. So it build. So now you will see it generated this series, and what along with that it does is this. It gives you a measure out of its own. So you can even use the generate series, but generate series won't give you a measure. So what it does, it gives you a measure also along with this table. So it generates a table with list of values. Let me show you where is the new created. Okay. So do you see? You saw this values, correct? So if you go to the cost chain, you see this percentages. So how you can change this now to a percentage? Okay, so you can make it. So it also gives you along with it the measure. So it tells you, it's telling you it's the currency one, but we know it's not a currency one, so we need to change this to a percentage value. So it's changing, it's the increase of 60% to plus 60%. So easily it is done across. So and it gives you a measure along with it. So telling you selected value, if it's comma 0, so it's giving you a measure. Now this measure would be used to connect these variables. How we can do it? Another way. So we are just taking a simple sales. It's just as total sales. Total sales is how much is sales price into the selling price. Then what we are going to change is the profits. I think profits is coming from total sales minus the total manufacturing cost is cost price into. So how we gonna change the profit is simply uh, sum of sold price into the quantity minus the sum of cost price into the quantity. So this is a simple sales formula that is being used right now. So how do you calculate the profits? So for example, you're gonna you just for sensitivity, you need to do it for each and every variable. So if you see this each and every cost price, how do you do? You do what it is telling is it's calculate sum x is a function that iterates every row within the data set. So that's where what it is trying to do. What it's going to do is going to calculate it from units sold into the sale price minus again summing up every row one by one cost price. Uh, okay, I think this is the stupidity that I need to change. I think I might have put it wrongly out here. Okay, so cost price into the change in the cost price into the quantity. I think the quantity is missing, so that's where the formula was going wrong. So what it's trying to do is that it's just changing the unit sold price into the sales price minus the summing of unit sold price into the cost price into the change that is part of this. So that's how this this addition of this line is actually connecting the dots between the those tables that are not physically in the data model, that are not linked in the data model itself. So this is how you can do it. Then you can do it for the sales price similarly. If you see the sales price, you can do it. Okay, sorry, this one is another thing that I'll let you know. Another where is my sale? Yeah, SP change profit. Yeah, so similarly you did it for this one. So in this one they did a sales price change. So this one you can do it for the overall profits. You can change it on the basis of each variable. Now for scenario, it would be a completely change in all the variables. So units sold into the change in units sold, sales price into the change in sales price, quantity minus the units sold into the quantity change into the cost price, into the quantity change. So what it's trying to do is just linked everything all together at one go. And then you can do a combination. So right now it has just three variables. In matrix you can use the two variables to do the changes, then you can compare separately under each scenarios. And that's where you can that's how you can build that one. You can use custom visuals to do a comparison for the three all together at one point, but it all depends upon how you want to build that report. So so it's just a use of what if parameters and understanding a little bit of DAX, making it possible across all these things. Let me go back to the report. And then this color coding is just a simple color coding. If it's achieving 0%, then it is if it's less than -5 or +5, then it's a little bit green, and rest yellow and red. That's how the color. It's just a simple color coding over it. So having said that, this is how you can do this data analysis very frequently and very easily. um, Having said that, that's how you start building the your data model on these scenarios, and then it makes it very looks it makes it looks better when you put it in a more presentable format. And then can allow people, with this people can very differently do a lot of different scenarios in very frequently. We use it for our risk ratings, we use it for our risk predictions within the banks, we do it for ROE analysis. So these are this analysis is being used very frequently, at least in our financial industries in a sense. So these are the things that that can be used in other industries, applying the so-called models across. Now let's get back to the presentation. Yeah, so we did cover this one. Now, the next analysis is the cohort analysis. What is cohort? Cohort is like forming a segments of data within your data sets and not seeing your data set as one. So it's like it's compresses of a cycles where you do different you can form different cohorts on the basis of different characteristics of the data, like time based or segment or size based. Today we're going to do a time based cohort analysis where we're going to see uh, it helps in predicting, it helps to give you more descriptive analysis of what is happening with your client base. It helps with that. For example, how many clients are coming back to do some purchases, or how many clients are going ahead for your doing of purchases. In banking industry, we do this cohort analysis for understanding which kind of products are being brought up and brought down, and how customers are reacting to those products, and accordingly see understand the profitability across it, and then put it across to the customers. Even when you do time-based course, it tells you even the sometimes the seasonality of the customer characteristic also. So these are the different things that you can do it within this cohort analysis. We're going to do a small experiment about it. What it tells you, it's showing you the data for each and everyone, and it's telling every month which are the clients that are coming back to you on each of the month basis, how it is coming back and how it is being done. We're going to show you a small demo how it is done. And it is also very quick analysis, and it people uses that analysis to do a quick insights of the data initially, so that they understand what is happening with the historical data, and then see what best can be done to do the changes. So this is how we're gonna do it also on this. We're gonna so it's a data set where people uh, every month there are some subscription, and we are trying to see exactly how much of people have come back next month and next month and next month onwards. Uh, so if you see there is increase decrease, so for example 60 people came back from the on the first month, but post which it got reduced, but again it increased on third month, again it decreased, again it increased, again it started decreasing, increasing, again started increasing. So these are the things that it tells you exactly how it's happening. So for example, you might have thought, okay, I have got 386 in the first month, I'm gonna get every month, now I'm gonna have an increase every month. So for example, if someone saw this data without doing this cohort analysis, what it will see, it will show, okay, fine, first month I got 386, next month I got 274. So it said, okay, fine, for me I just reduced 100 and so-called 112 people in the whole subscription. But no, actually you lost almost 326 people. If you see, only 60 got returned from 386. So this kind of analysis tells you the real story behind the data, and it tells you the real thing, at least description wise it tells you about it. It doesn't, you don't have, and you don't have to do build a lot of big models to do that. And that's something we're going to show it as part of the demo now. Okay, let me see a code analysis. Yeah. So again, we're going to use a generate series out here. I love that part of the Power BI, that we can use it to do a lot of things. So it's a simple data set. Uh, First, you need to find each customer's the least date, first date of the purchase within the products. So it could be any product, but it you can then you can deep dive into the products also later on. But for this, we are just keeping it to the just a customer revisiting your store without deep diving into the products. For each product, it is coming back and again forth. So we're just doing it as part of the first analysis. So what you need to do, you need to create first analysis to so first what you need to do, you need to get them the first purchase date of that customer. How you can get it? An easy way, you just need to uh, it's all with DAX that we are playing around with here. Give me a second, let the data come up. I don't want this, I want this. And then I want to show you the how the minimum order date worked. So what we're going to do, for each customer, we're going to run the whole flow of the data. So what it does, what this part will do, and what is first part is doing, I'm going to do it one by one. So you need to first find what is the current ID of the customer. So I just got a customer ID. I found the customer ID. It's a blank one, but it has some data across in the down part. So you can get the customer ID first. Get that customer ID, put it into a variable, post which now you go to this invoice data. So what it's doing is trying to subgroup the whole data, filter the data on the customer ID, and then find the minimum invoice date of this data. So what it's trying to do, this part, okay, before this one, okay, so what it does, this filter data, it's filtering this this whole data set on the basis of this customer ID, where current ID is this, and finding a minimum and a minimum invoice date out of that, and then I'm putting it to end month so that I can do analysis on a monthly basis. You can do it on daily basis, you can do it on more of the frequency. It's just that I'm doing it on the monthly basis, I'm doing this one. So what it did, it invoiced the minimum timestamp here and got this the end of month data for end of month order date for that person. So if you see that, so we did that part, and then we got the each customer person out there, and then what is the next step in this one? Then what I did, we generated a series. Okay, we generated a series. Just generated a series from 0 to 12. If you want to do analysis of 14, 15, 16 months, so you can do it accordingly for how long period that you want to do it. So I just generated a series of from 0 to 12 to 1. So the same thing, 0 is the initial value, 12 is the maximum, and 1 is the frequency change. So we build that series across. Okay, so once you got that, what you need to do is that okay, I'll do one demo for you to quickly. How much time? Okay, we are running short of time, so I have to show you the auto ML thing. That's why I'm not. Okay, so we did what we did. We just use the metrics. I'm not gonna generate the again the whole the stuff. So what we did, we just got the, okay, now we know this is the month value, so we got the columns as months. Okay, let me get this day. Minimum order date, the hierarchy, I just need the month as rows. Okay, so I got the months, then I got the columns values from this in so we generated the series, correct? So we'll get this value from the columns. We don't want to summarize, I want you to pick that one. So it doesn't have any measure, so that's why it's uh, that's where the Power BI was coming. So this is how I got the customer retained value. How we build this measure, Let's see it. Okay, this is so we haven't filtered the data, that's why you're changing seeing this data. If I filter this data on the invoice year, this is for both the years. So this is for both 2010 and 11. Okay. Mm, I don't. Okay. So this is how you build that analysis. So how this customer will work. I'll show you what it's trying to do. It's what it's trying to calculate is trying to first the variables are so it's trying to see exactly on which column you on which row you on which cell you are within the whole matrix. So it's trying to see x and y of the excel sheet. If you see the column and the row values, so what it's trying to see, okay, I am at the if I'm standing here at this point. Okay, let me show you from here. So if I'm standing at this point, so what it's trying to show you from this call measure is that, okay, you are at January month. So this is the row value. It's saying to tell you it's a row value. For this one, it's trying to get you the column value. So you understand exactly where are you, and then you can do that measuring of what you're trying to do across the months. So then what it does, it gets you the distinct count of customer ID, and again the same way. But how it's trying to filter the data is trying to filter the data on the basis of your invoice date, the current date value, and the current month value. So what it does here is that it goes, checks the invoice date, whether the invoice date is part of this January. And why we are using this one, because let me select this one. For example, we are at this value, so we are on the second month. So it's trying to get you, okay, from August you go and find the value for October. So that's what it's trying. We know the data add function within SQL, so it's trying to add those number of months into the date function. So this is what how you can build the whole cohort analysis so easily on the Power BI. Okay, I'm going to the next part, the forecasting. The forecasting in Power BI. So you can imagine, I'm going to skip all these faster so that at least I'm not going to go through what are the models that are being used in forecasting in Power BI. Usually it's a ETS, it's a error trend and seasonality model, where it uses the Halls linear model as well the triple exponential smoothing model, depending upon whether you have a seasonal data, whether you don't have a seasonal data. Um, it does. So I'm going to just show you a small forecasting report that we have built on the basis of COVID cases. Where, uh, okay.
Hence,
So
we have
what it's
the
trying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, so that's why I'm going a little bit faster. So the forecasting, you can in line charts, Power BI gives you a forecasting model by its own. So you just need to be careful about how you're going to use it. There are certain parameters that you need to fix it. So you want to understand, okay, fine, you want to understand how much of forecasting you want to do, for how many months you want to do a forecasting. You can change it to years, you can change it to quarters. Different frequencies are out there. Then you can tell how much of the data you want to ignore from. For example, this is having a lot of noise data. We should not be using this noise data. On basis of this should not be the basis of the prediction. So you can ignore that many months. I do ignore months just to see whether the forecasting that is happening is actually happening on the are on the right track or not. And then you can create a seasonality, and what it tells, it gives you the big area across where you see that, okay, these are the things that can where it will lie across. That is the area where your forecasting is going to lie across. So just going back, so if you see this one, um, I forecasted for next 2 months. So if you can see the bigger the confidence, the bigger the percentage of the confidence interval, the biggest the area would be, because then it wants to be making sure that your value still remains in this. So this is the maximum and the minimum values out here. If it's there, yeah. So if you see this, I'm editing it just to come on. So if you see this confidence interval, changing the confidence interval, how it impacts the theory. So if you see this one, 95%. So if I decrease the to 75% and apply it, it puts it down across. So when I see okay 75%, I think the values are going down. So I guess it might not be a correct a forecasting. So I need to increase the interval to to give it a more so that it gives you me a bigger area to see okay these are the maximum and the minimum value. So it's just about your confidence or how much confident you want to be to make sure that okay this where the reports are going to lie. So this is very simple things that you can do it without having a too much of forecasting knowledge or modeling knowledge. uh, this is one part, and then I'm gonna do it another one. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is one for the data analyst building data model and analyzing it, and that too without having a full-fledged knowledge of the whole thing. So Power BI Auto ML function with data flows gives you a by default prediction model where you can do binary prediction, you can do regression model, you can do general classification, you can test and train your data model, and once it is done, then you can apply these model to different data flows, different data sets. I'm going to show you a simple, and post the training is done, it gives you a model performance reports, accuracy reports, training details, where it tells you even the about the model performance of precision and recall metrics, where you can see how much of prediction is can be true, and you can decide on that matrix. And I did a same modeling from Power BI Auto ML. I achieved 88% of the accuracy, and but on the model performance. And when I did the same modeling from Python and R, I was able to only get 84%. Even after doing a lot of retrain and testing, still was getting the same. So you can imagine how strongly Power BI is being integrated with these things to make it more intuitive, more work oriented, more precisely things. So I'm just gonna show you a small thing out here. If I've opened it, come on, come on. Guys, you can ask questions along with it also, because I think the whole thing will not complete within it. So at least you guys, if you can ask questions also, that would be I can at least answer it now. I was supposed to give you a demo to how to create the whole thing, but right now I don't have that much time left. Okay, I'm going to show you a prediction auto ML. How easy. So I'm going to leave a link how to create a data flows, but I'm just going to show you how a model is being created, and post which I'm going to show you the report also. I'm going to open the regression demo for the. Okay, so if you see this one, machine learning models are out there as part of the data flows. You don't need to do so it predicts you which model you should be also using. For example, you say okay, I'm going to use my query insensitive. What is the outcome field that I'm going to do it? So I'm going to use a revenue field which tells you whether it's got a renew whether the purchase happened or not. So I want to predict whether my purchase is happening or not. So it's a revenue field, yes or no. So the time I put the binary data, it tells me it has to be a binary prediction model that should suit you. So see, and it tells me what you want the outcome value to be. But obviously, because it's binary, it can tell me. But for others, it doesn't tell me. It tells me from so true and false. I'm not keeping it too complex. I can change these labels across to understand what is the output value, so I can compare it, use it in my reports. Um, So now it tells me what data we are going to select to do this set study. Imagine now if I don't understand the model, so it's telling me, okay, these are having low correlation, so don't use these fields to do your training of your model. So you can imagine how quickly, how frequent, how easily it's making your life easy as part of a data analyst. So you don't need to do it. It selects the columns for you. You don't have to select the columns for yourself. So it's selecting your best fields for to be trained on. Then you say next, give the model name demo underscore India something, and it tells you the more longer you train, the longer the better the performance might be, the more accurate the results would become. So for now, I'm going to just train it for 5 minutes just to I'm not the end result won't be there, because even if for 9 minutes it will take more time to train it because the data is too much for it. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you what it generates. So once it does that part, it generates this training report, which we're going to see it now, which I was showing you here. So it tells you performance, accuracies, and all those things. uh, See, the model performance is giving me 80%. I can see how accurate it is becoming. So if you see, only only for the two actual cons, it went beyond 60% of the price was that much difference. So it tells you on what basis how close your are stuff out there. Then you can see your predictors, what are your top predictors. So it tells you each and everything about that. It tells you, okay, square foot living, if square foot living is more than 8090, these are the outcome fields. So you can understand all these data while doing this without having knowledge of the machine learning and all that stuff. You don't have to have too much of good knowledge about it. You have to have just a basic knowledge and you can still build your models. And then once that is done, you guys can go and say, okay, I want to apply this ML model. Select the data set that you want to apply. So you can apply on any data set that as part of the data flow. You can add it to the data flow entities, and then you can get that data itself. So imagine all these things happening within your Power BI without having any knowledge from data science perspective or a modeling perspective. Um, Thank you guys for attending my session. So I end my session here. Obviously, I'm on short of time, and sorry for the trouble for the Power BI reports because they all got crashed just before the things. Guys, any questions?
Thank you, friends. Uh, One of the attendees have asked, can you share these sample files in GitHub or anywhere?
Okay, I was saying, okay, do you want this, because data set I might not be able to share, but I can
Okay,
share the okay, okay, let me create a data set and I send it across to you guys also. I can create a sample data set for that, and then you guys can take it from there.
okay.
So you
Actually, the session was very nice. If you have added your demo files have not crashed, it should have been super.
so sorry for the trouble, guys. Yeah,
No issues, no issues. Yeah, thank you, friends.
thank you.